Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Revealing the Narc, and on this channel we dive deep into the intriguing world of narcissism. I'll often use public figures as examples to illustrate how these behaviors can manifest in real life. If this sounds interesting to you, please like and subscribe. I should mention that everything I say in my video is my opinion, and any hypotheticals or theories that I mention, these are all allegedly. Another thing I should mention is I'm not a therapist, and in no way am I giving advice. Okay, so let's get started with today's video. I was looking at some old footage of Meghan going to the National Theater, which she became a patron of. The Queen was the patron for many, many years, and I apologize, I don't know the exact number, but she gave this patronage to Meghan, thinking it would be something Meghan would really like, with her being an actress. So this visit was in January of 2019. We'll go through an article that was published at that time when she visited the National Theater, and then afterwards I'm going to show you a clip from that same visit and then talk about the behavior that's in the video clip. The title of the article is Meghan Markle is in her element during a patron visit to the National Theater. Meghan Markle has spent most of 2019 so far visiting the organizations for which she now serves as a royal patron. On January 30, the Duchess visited an organization she's no doubt excited about, the National Theater. The Queen passed on the National Theater patronage to Meghan after 45 years, and it's a very fitting choice. Meghan seemed in her element during her visit, which is no surprise given her love for theater and acting. When the patronage was announced, the palace said that Meghan is a strong believer in using the arts to bring people from different backgrounds and communities together. Okay, so far this article, I agree with it. I think the Queen was very generous to give something to Meghan that she knew Meghan would enjoy. And I think this is yet another example of the royal family doing their best to take care of Meghan and make her excited to be part of the royal family. While visiting, Meghan met with the teams and apprentices working behind the scenes to make the work at the National Theater possible. The Duchess, wearing a pink Brandon Maxwell look and the same Aquazzura heels from her engagement shoot, watched performances from members of the theater. She also spoke with employees about a new initiative, Public Acts Production, as well as watching school children perform scenes from Warhorse. So just a quick aside about the Aquazzura shoes and why I had a little giggle there. In 2016, while Meghan was still in Toronto, and I don't think she had met Harry yet, but I'm not sure. She was doing an ad for a store called Reitman's, and Reitman's is considered budget-friendly clothing, like not just budget friendly, right? Like you could go, the average person could go there and go shopping. Meghan felt that this was beneath her. So this was the second year that she had been asked to come back. The first year, her behavior was appalling. And maybe I should redo the video I did about that, because at the time I was using an AI voice, so it's not like nice, it's not fun to listen to. But in the second year, it even started wrong. So they were going to shoot an ad where Meghan was going to be dancing with a gentleman, and he's trying to look at the tag on her dress because he doesn't believe that such a beautiful woman could wear such a beautiful gown and it would be from Reitman's. So Meghan threw a fit. She said, this is these are not, I'm paraphrasing. I don't know exactly what she said, but she didn't like it because she felt that it wasn't empowering and she didn't want to do it. And I forget exactly what she said. She's a brash American or something like that. And this was in Tom Bower's book, Revenge. And I remember Tom Bower in the book said something like she was extremely critical, but she wasn't offering any viable options or ideas. So she was criticizing and throwing a fit, but then not offering options. She even, during one of the calls, she hung up on them. She was incredibly rude during the shoot. I mean, that, like, people were offended. So yeah, I think I'll do another video about that. But during this shoot, she asked for them to buy these Aquazzura shoes because she had to wear them for the advertisement. And they were already over budget, but they were like, dude, let's just buy these shoes and get this thing done. So they bought them for her, and she ends up shooting the commercial wearing the shoes. And I went back and I looked at the ad, and you can't see the shoes, but they're described as nude Aquazzura shoes. And I've always wondered if those are the same shoes that she wore in the engagement interview, because those are also nude Aquazzura shoes. But what? Oh, I gave away the ending. I didn't mean to say that part. But basically, she walked off the set with them. And the crew was like, where did those shoes go? And they're like, she took it. She took it with her. So anyways, I gave away the ending. Oh well. I hope you guys get a good laugh at that. Okay, so now let's get into the video from this day. There's actually a lot of videos from this day, but this is the one that I wanted to talk about for this video. And I wonder if you will all see what I see, but let's watch that clip. Okay, so to me, it looks like she's very uncomfortable. It looks a little patronizing. I don't know if that's the right word to say, when she squats to talk to this person, and her facial expression looks like she pities the person. Now, this is all my opinion, and I'm wondering if you all see that too. So if you do, please drop a note in the comments. And let's talk a little bit about the narcissistic traits that could lead to these kinds of actions and behaviors. So she could be seeking attention and sympathy. So by squatting down to engage with someone in a wheelchair, Meghan may have aimed to create a dramatic moment that draws attention to her compassion. This could serve to enhance her public image as a caring, relatable figure, appealing to her desire for admiration, validation from others. So she was hoping that this would be on the newspapers or on the cover of newspapers the next day. And I also want to mention that it looks quite uncomfortable to be that pregnant, allegedly, and squat down like that. So it's very, you know what? It's very theatric. It's very theatric at the National Theater. She could also be motivated to control the perception of her. So narcissists often seek to control how others perceive them. So by adopting this sympathetic demeanor, even if it comes off as offensive, she could be attempting to shape the narrative around her visit, ensuring that people focus on her supposed empathy rather than any negative aspects of her public image or the royal family's dynamics. So, and I mean, I don't know what it is about Meghan, but she may have the facial expression, the appropriate facial expression, but it doesn't look genuine, right? And narcissists often, their facial expressions, their empathy, when they display it, it's a learned behavior. It's not their nature. So they learn what other people, how other humans would react, and they almost copy it. And to me, that's what her behavior looks like. And then at the same time, I got this feeling that she's demonstrating superiority. So the way she approached the individual could reflect a need to position herself as more enlightened or compassionate than others. By showing sympathy in a visibly exaggerated manner, she may be attempting to elevate her own status, suggesting that she is uniquely capable of understanding and connecting with those who are marginalized. And this is absolutely true, because she would often say that what would she call it? She didn't have the stiff upper lip that people in the UK have, and that she loves to hug people, and she felt the royal family was kind of dry. And I'm paraphrasing what she said. And she truly does feel that she is uniquely capable of understanding these people, of offering empathy to these people. Yeah, and I think maybe that's, putting all of this together, that could be why her interactions just don't seem genuine. What I want to do next is talk about what this could look like in an everyday narcissist. And what I mean by an everyday narcissist, this is someone that's not a celebrity. This is someone that's not part of the royal family. So it's just your ordinary, run-of-the-mill, average person. So how would they look in these types of situations? So a narcissistic person might go out of the way to perform a dramatic act of kindness, such as volunteering at a charity event, but only if it garners attention and praise. They may post about it on social media, highlighting their involvement to receive validation, rather than genuinely caring about the cause or the people they are helping. And this reminds me of my malignant narcissist stepmom. So she was involved in a charity, and she would just eat up, like, oh my gosh, when people would say, you do such great work. And her social media feed was constantly showing this stuff. And okay, I understand that people do good works, but her intention was not for the children. It wasn't. And I'll give you guys another example of my malignant narcissist stepmom. So, and I don't know why I was in a place to overhear a conversation like this, but someone said to my stepmom, like, how good of you to be so welcoming of your husband's children from a previous marriage. Doesn't that make your blood boil? First of all, why would that conversation happen in front of the child? Like, honestly, complete foolishness. And in that example, my stepmom is pretending to be this great person that behind closed doors was abusive. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word. It's just a little insane to me. And secondly, when you marry a man that has children, you get the whole package. Like, the bare minimum would be that you would be welcoming to your partner's children. And my stepmom had children from her previous marriage too, and my dad was so welcoming of them. She never reciprocated, though, as a narcissist would not do or do. She would not reciprocate. They might have like this manipulative sympathy. So someone with narcissistic traits might pretend to have deep concern for a friend going through a tough time, but their sympathy might come off as insincere or over the top. They might share their own similar experiences in a way that shifts the focus back to themselves, making it seem more about their feelings rather than truly supporting their friend. And remember, like, we all have friends that are kind of like this, and that we all have a little bit of narcissistic traits, but we're not full-blown narcissists. So I have a lot of friends that are that way. And Harry and Meghan example of this was the Queen's funeral. She had a plastered on fake smile. She was nasty to the Queen for the last few years of her life. And I mean, we just talked about how the Queen gave her this patronage of many of the things that she did for Meghan. And the funeral was September of 2022. At that time, the Oprah interview had come out. Within a couple of weeks, I think the Netflix documentary was going to come out, and then a couple of months after that was Spare. So they go to this funeral knowing how they have betrayed the family. And what does she do? One tear, left eye. And I don't know if all of you have seen that, but there's a video clip of Meghan from, I don't know, like early 2010 to 2015, where someone says to her, can you pretend to cry? And she says, I'm really good at that. One tear, left eye, go. And if you look at her at the Queen's funeral, it's one tear left eye. Oh my gosh, she's so dramatic. I actually did a video about her at the Queen's funeral and how all you need to know about Meghan being a bad person is the way she acted at the Queen's funeral, like leading up to the funeral and then during the funeral. A real life example of this for me, again, with my malignant stepmom, was, I mean, throughout all these years, she would pretend that she cared about the things that were happening in my life. And when I was young and naive, I used to tell her, but it was a fact-finding mission because anything I told her was twisted and turned into something really bad, and then she would go and tell my dad. I mean, it's just awful. One day I'll get into like the nitty-gritty because I know that these stories I'm saying on the surface, it sounds like, oh, well, maybe she's not a narcissist. She's just not a nice person. But believe me, she's a malignant narcissist. Okay, and finally, narcissists might create dramatic moments in conversation. So in social situations, a narcissist might engage with someone who is less fortunate, such as a person struggling with an issue, by leaning in and adopting an overly dramatic tone. Their sympathetic gestures might feel more like a performance aimed at showcasing their perceived compassion rather than a genuine connection to the other people's struggles or the other person's struggles. And immediately what came to my mind was when Meghan Markle went to Uvalde. She didn't engage with anyone. She was there for the photo op and she left. And that's why she's so transparent. That's why people see through her. Because there really is no genuine concern for people. So I know that I brought all of these back and related it back to Meghan, but the three examples I gave at the end are something that the average person might do, or the average narcissist might do. All right, so I'm going to end the video here. I'm curious to know what you all think about this. And if this was interesting to you, please like and subscribe, and I will talk to you all soon. Goodbye.